A wise man once told me that if you try to please everyone, you end up pleasing no one. You either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become the villain. And God damn it, put a mask and cape on me and call me Dr. Doom because I'm trying to live, you feel me? I ain't with none of that funny shit, you feel me? One thing I realized in life is that you're gonna be the villain in somebody's story. Somebody's not gonna like you for whatever reason. You could play the game perfect. You can be the nicest, the most considerate, thoughtful, et cetera, et cetera. You can do all that. And for some reason, somebody, for whatever reason, is not gonna like you. They're gonna feel like you fucked them over. They're gonna feel like you just did them in a worse way. And you probably didn't do much of anything, if anything, to them. That's just the way of life perspective, how they see it. Maybe you took an opportunity from them, or you have advantages that they didn't have, and maybe you're letting it go to waste, or maybe they feel like you're not as talented as you are because of the opportunities you had. It could be anything. And to be honest with you, I'm not here to dissect what the reasons are. I'm here to tell you that be the villain, bro. At this point in my life, I think I'm okay with being the villain, right? Trying to dumb yourself down or not be who you are for somebody else is just counterproductive to everybody because for one, they still not gonna like you, bro. It's just it is what it is. They don't fuck with you, you know? That's just what it is. And two, you're not gonna be happy playing this character, right? How do I know this? Because quite frankly, I did this for most of my young life, right? Young life. Most of my childhood. I played a character, I played a role. I pretended to be somebody that I was not in order to gain favor from my fellow classmates who, in hindsight, why the fuck was I trying to impress these motherfuckers? You know, they cool, they were cool people, but like, I mean, I probably would have got a lot further just being who I was, you know? And that's just my insecurities at the time, my lack of confidence at the time. But you live and you learn, right? You got to understand as human beings, our minds haven't completely evolved to the technology that we have created, right? We still have the minds of hunter gatherers running around on the Sahara with that whatever gathering food, blah blah blah. You know the story. This ain't no fucking science channel. We still have the mind and the instincts of those creatures when a lot of the stuff that was developed for our survival back then is no longer needed now. So a lot of times was just kind of contradictory to what I'm saying, but you gotta kind of gotta internally go against the grain, go against something that doesn't feel right. Basically, what I'm saying, you got to take inventory of your thoughts and your feelings, and you got to ask yourself, is this even a real thing? Right? I know I'm the villain in a lot of people's story, and not because I was trying to be or I was a dickhead or I was just such a terrible person, but just simply because of the position I happened to be born in, right? So I'm gonna take y'all back to 20 damn years ago. The year is probably like 2006, 2005. At the time, I'm like 6 or 7, 6, 7. Yeah, I'm about 6, 7, 8, 9, something around there. I used to walk to school for elementary school. I don't know how it is where you at, but you know, some people rode the bus, some people got dropped off, some people walk. I was close enough to my school where I could walk to it, so I walked to school. And my grandma used to walk me to school, so it would be me, my cousin, my grandma. Grandma walked to school, you know, we'll talk with my grandma on the way to school, asking her a whole bunch of stupid bullshit as kids do. As a young, as a jit, peer pressure, you want to fit in, you want to be accepted by the rest of the students. The area I grew up in, I said it before if you watched the previous videos, but if you haven't, it wasn't the best. It wasn't the worst either. Like I said, we weren't in the trap, but we was in the hood. And it's crazy because the cycle repeats. It was a lot of kids with, I mean, I don't really got no other way to say it, but it's a lot of kids with parents who had no business being a parent, like straight up. I should have called CPS on the ass. So, and then there probably was some people with parents who wasn't doing the best or had the type of support that I had. Mind you, I'm telling you, my grandma took me to school. Like my grandma walked me and my cousin to school. We had a grandma, granddaddy, parents with their own houses and jobs and whatnot. We had support from multiple places. And a lot of people probably only had their mom and their moms had 3 other kids or 2 other kids, and they probably was the oldest and had to grow up fast. So looking back on it, I can see why a lot of them had a chip on their shoulder, but I'm getting away from the point of the story, right? Wintertime, right? You know, it's cold outside. We're young. Immune system ain't really up to snuff yet. You got to protect yourself. My grandma, my grandma was known, notorious, at least with me and my cousin, for putting the biggest fucking coats she could find, hats, lawn johns, all of that. Man, we would be. I ain't gonna lie, that shit was so like uncomfortable, but a nigga was warm. Looking back on it, the nigga was warm. But yeah, man, she would really strap us up when wintertime came around. So we would get these big ass coats. Either she would buy us for like Christmas or something, or my mom would board. But either way, she made sure we had the biggest coats she could find. Yeah, you ever seen Christmas Story and the coat bro had on where he couldn't put his arms down? It was almost some shit like that. It was very uncomfortable, but we was warm though. We was warm. So, you know, we'll walk to school and my grandma, she'll talk to some of the other parents that might have been out there. And she'll be like, man, look at these kids. How it worked is if you walked to school, it was a specific door that you had to go to. And you couldn't go through that door until a certain time. So it was like a certain time they would let you in, whether it was hot as hell, cold as hell, or whether the weather was perfect. You won't get in. Let's just say it was 8 o'clock. I don't remember what time it was, but let's just say you won't get in that door until 8 o'clock, right? So as kids do, they running around, jumping over the bushes, playing football. And this day in particular, man, it was cold as a bitch, bro. I don't know what the temp. It was below freezing because you can see your breath. It was ice on the bushes, icicles dripping from the top of the building. It was cold as a motherfucker. And some people had little thin ass jackets on. Some of the kids had little jackets on, and they kind of made up a bullshit excuse like this swag type shit. I don't know what the word was back then for like drip or aura, whatever the fuck, you know what I'm saying. But you get where I'm coming at, right? They played it off like they was making a fashion sense, right? So here come me and my cousin with these big ass, bulky Alaska jackets on. And I ain't gonna lie, they got in our ass, pause. They were frying us. They was roasting us up. Cause I don't even remember the jokes they said. I ain't gonna lie, they weren't even hitting, but it was just the fact that it was a group of motherfuckers joking on us because we had parents who could afford nice jackets and whatnot, right? So I go to school, thinking about this all day in school, running to my cousin, man. We talking about it. We like, man, grandma got us out here looking lame as fuck, man. We out here with these big ass jackets on, niggas joking on us and shit. This is the type of conversation me and my cousin had back in the day, right? Fucking dumb motherfuckers, bro. Like we was so fucking stupid, bro. But these are the type of conversations we would have among each other. Man, they got us looking all crazy, man. They sent us to school with our face all greased up and shit. We having this dumbass conversation about how our fucking parents cared about us, right? We didn't see it like that. So we decided to go talk to our grandma. You know, we said, hey grandma, could you possibly get us like a jacket that's a little, I don't know, more fashionable, smaller? My grandma looking like, it's 32 fucking degrees outside. You can see your breath. If you pee, it's gonna freeze coming out of you know what I'm saying? And she's basically saying, look, them little niggas joking on y'all because they people can't afford it. And my grandma just straight up said it like that. They mamas can't afford that shit. That's all they have. They mad because you can afford to be warm. Me and my cousin listening to our grandma. She tell us this. She walks away. We look at each other. And then our 6, 7, 8-year-old minds, that was the stupidest shit I ever heard. Cause it's like, who would even want to buy these motherfuckers? You know what I'm saying? These shits ain't fly. You know what I'm saying? These shits ain't, it ain't it, you know? It ain't it. But my grandma was right. Those kids, especially because some of them I know today, and I know that they weren't in the best position when they was growing up. They didn't have the type of advantages that I had. And to me, it was just life. It was just, man, my grandma our parents trying to fucking not make us cool. They don't want us to be cool, right? But to them, they looked at it like, man, I'm cold as a bitch in this little ass jacket. Who are these motherfuckers with these nice, warm ass jackets? We were the villain in their story. And we didn't even do nothing. We just, we didn't even have no say in the fucking jackets. We didn't even want to wear the motherfucking jackets. You know what I'm saying? Looking back on that story, letting that roll around in my noodle, keeping that story close to my heart. I just wish I had the mindset that I had now where I was okay with being a villain. I got one more story. I hear a lot of people say they don't want to die with regrets. Newsflash, buddy, you're gonna die with some fucking regrets. And these are one of mine right here. If you watch any of my other videos before this one released, you'll know that I was pretty intelligent growing up, right? Funny thing is, if you met me later in my childhood, like my teenage years, my young 20s, you're probably look at me and be like, this nigga ain't too bright, right? This nigga ain't too bright, and rightfully so, because man, you gonna see why when we gonna tell the story, right? I was in first grade, we was doing fractions, right? It's the middle of the school year, and throughout the school year, I kinda already put a little target on my back being a smart kid, I know it all, smart ass. Now I was a smart ass, I can say that. I definitely was a smart ass, I'm still a smart ass. I kinda put that target on my back because if the teacher asked a question, my head shooting up like a rocket to answer that motherfucker. I wanted everybody to know that I knew every fucking thing, right? I remember it was just one day in class, right? I was on fire, nigga. The teacher asked a question, I'm me shaking my head, like I'm raising my hand and wiggling that shit in the air because I'm so eager to answer the question, right? Another one, me, I know the answer. It got to the point where the teacher was like, does anybody else other than Mark know the answer? She said that shit, and just the whole vibe in the room just like switch. Niggas looked at me. The young ladies was looking at me. They just had like this look on their face. Niggas I was cool with, I was kicking it with. They looking at me like, who the fuck you think you are? And I'm just like, nigga, I know the answer. Like, what's the issue? Niggas started sucking their teeth, man. They started saying little slick shit. Teacher asked another question. I still raised my hand, but just with less enthusiasm. And she says it again. Mark, you gotta let other people answer the question. And then that just sent it over the top, man. Niggas just got on my ass. Because God damn it, nigga, I knew the answer. And it wasn't even like I wasn't even the smartest motherfucker in the class. It was another nigga smarter than me. I was the second smartest motherfucker in the class. So that's the shit that was blowing me. I wasn't even the smartest, nigga. It was a nigga smarter than me. But I was one of the smartest. And I was a jackass. I mean, I guess I was in the second grade, bro. How was I supposed to know? Or the first grade. One of the second, first grade. How was I supposed to be able to gauge the energy in a room? The teacher basically barred me from answering questions. We get to the next subject, right? Math, my favorite subject. And we doing fractions. Teacher asked a question. I raised my hand, this time with less enthusiasm. Just, a normal raise of the hand. I answer the question, get it right, and it's like the whole class, this nigga here, man. Wow, like, everybody got some shit to say now. And I was just kind of like, oh shit. Like I was feeling the pressure, man. Like the hate was getting to me. I didn't this is my first time really dealing with hate. And I'm like, nigga, I was just excited about what we was learning, right? So I made a conscious decision that day. A decision that would inevitably follow me up until like my 20s. So basically this decision followed me for damn near 20 years almost. I made a decision that like I wasn't gonna be smart no more. I wanted to be like everybody else. I wanted to fit in. And that was a conscious decision. And I still remember thinking about this. I can't remember the exact words I used, but I remember the sentiment. I remember thinking like, basically, I'm gonna just act like I'm not as smart as I am. It took some time, not gonna lie, it took some time of me dumbing myself down to actually see the effects of it. I was probably about high school, maybe my sophomore year when I actually felt like I felt the brunt of all the shit I was doing for the past couple years because I was still a honor roll student all through elementary school, all through middle school. But now it was like I was purposely not trying and I was still getting honor roll and shit too. So that kind of boosted my ego a little bit. But when I got to high school, yeah, I got humbled real quick, you know what I'm saying? Especially college too. Oh my fucking God. Like I wasted all that time trying to fit in, trying not to be the villain, not to be the bad guy in somebody else's story, trying not to make somebody else feel a type of way that I eventually fucked myself over. I played dumb so long that I wasn't playing no more. Like I was dumb. I was dumb, you know what I'm saying? And I don't feel no way saying that because being dumb is a choice, right? I didn't have no mental disability. I didn't have no learning disability. I chose to be ignorant. The only thing that makes me feel a way about that when I look back on this story is I chose to be ignorant for some people who didn't even matter. I'm feeling the effects of a decision I made 10 years ago to fit in with some people who weren't even going to be a big part of my life to this day. I know them. I see some of them. To be honest with you, out of that group of people that I was trying to look cool for, I only know that one of them that's doing well. The other ones, I couldn't tell you what the fuck they doing in life. And one of them, I'm not gonna lie, not living the type of life I want to live, bro. I'm just keeping it. I Billy Band with you. I don't want to trade my life with that nigga like now. You know what I'm saying? If I had the mindset where I was okay with people not liking me or people feeling some type of way because goddamn it, I'm warm in the wintertime, or I took my academics seriously and I was intelligent. I put the work in. I was excited to learn and I knew my shit. If I was okay with people not liking me because of that, who knows where I would have been in their life right now, right? But they do say everything happens for a reason. So maybe I needed that. Maybe I needed that experience so I can be here right now and tell you, whoever's listening. And I would say that this video is for the younger generation. Imma keep it funky with you, man. This is just stuff that you still gotta deal with till you die. Like I said, I'm 28, I'm pushing 30. I still gotta deal with those feelings of I made a decision that was best for me, and now somebody looks at me like I'm just the worst person in the world. And guess what? It is what it is. I still gotta fight that urge sometimes. I still gotta fight that feeling to wanna be accepted by people, you know? That's just part of life. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. Like I said, it's a fight every day. If these things didn't happen to me, I wouldn't have stories to tell you today. So, I don't regret it happening. And in hindsight, I kind of look back on those stories and laugh. You know, I don't really got much else to say. Long story short, sometimes you got to be the bad guy, man. It's okay. Toodles.